I guess I'll just dive into it right now. Ask you a big question that everyone wants to know. How busted is your bracket after the Wild NCAA tournament?
It was busted day one when Michigan State lost. I picked them to win it all, as did a lot of experts. I did not anticipate them being clipped the way they did, the way they were playing. But it just goes to show you anything can happen in the NCAA tournament. It's been an exciting tournament, great game-winning shots. You know, the Northern Iowa meltdown at the end of the game, and then now the UVA meltdown in the Elite Eight in the second half. Really fun stuff. The fact that Syracuse is the one Cinderella in the Final Four, very exciting. My bracket is toast, my original bracket, but I do like to hedge, so I put a couple others in, and one of those others is doing very well and has a chance to win.
Nice. Well, you mentioned Syracuse, so you kind of led into my next question. You know, the first couple rounds, obviously, Michigan State, that lost to Middle Tennessee State, pretty much busted everyone's bracket. But the rest of the rounds from Sweet 16 on were really not that shocking. I mean, you had a 1 versus 2 in two of the different regions. So has this tournament kind of played out the way that you sort of saw it was going to play out other than Syracuse?
Yes, I think so. I think after those first couple days where you had a lot of turmoil and a lot of upsets, things kind of played out, and that's kind of normally how it is. Sometimes that first game, anything can happen. You know, there's a lot of nerves in the first game. 40 minutes goes by really quick. But then once you kind of get your feet wet, you get a game under your belt, and you get a win under your belt, you kind of settle in as a team, especially when you're the higher seeded team and the better team. So it's been a fun tournament all around. I like seeing a lot of the big time programs and the big time teams go up against each other. I also like seeing a few mid-majors who sneak in there, and we saw that with Northern Iowa. It was great to see them make a little bit of a run. But overall, the tournament's been spectacular. I think the quality of play has been really good. You look at how well certain teams were shooting the basketball. I mean, Villanova was lights out the way they shot it against Miami, and Miami shot it well, just couldn't stop Villanova. I think it's been a great tournament overall.
Would you rather have a tournament with more upsets or something that's, more status quo? I know everyone wants their bracket to do well, but what do you like to see more?
Well, as an expert, I like to look smart, and I like my decisions to look right. So if I do pick an upset, I like it to happen. Overall, I think it's a combination of both. I think you need some of those upsets, and you need some of those smaller teams. I was one of those teams. I came from a mid-major school. We want to prove ourselves on the biggest stage, that we belong with the big boys that get all the national media attention and are on TV every single night. So, I like seeing when, some of those mid-major teams like Hawaii and Northern Iowa were making their runs. That was pretty exciting, and that was fun. But at the same time, when it comes down to the Final Four, I think in the Sweet 16, you want good games. You want close games at the end. You don't want blowouts. So overall, when you have two teams that are used to being there and that are comfortable being in that spotlight and playing on the big stage, I think that makes for better basketball games.
Nice. You talked about how you're from the mid-major. I mentioned Miami, Ohio. Not a huge school. A lot of people don't even know that it's in Oxford, Ohio. They get confused with Miami, Florida, even though Miami, Ohio was founded before the state of Florida was even a state. I do know that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your experience and what it was like to reach the Sweet 16 back when you made the run in 1999?
It was tremendous. It really was. And it was a culmination of hard work. Our senior class was a great class. And we lost our conference tournament. So we were a little bit on eggshells on Selection Sunday, wondering whether or not we were going to get in. We got in as a 10 seed. I had that 43-point game. We beat Washington, and then we went on to beat Utah, the 2 seed, and make it to the Sweet 16. And they were great memories. I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Our program and our school was in the national spotlight. And, it couldn't have happened to a better group of guys and a better school. It was really a wonderful moment in time in my life. Unfortunately, we lost to a great Kentucky team in the Sweet 16. But we had a great run, something that we're all very proud of, and it was great to go out on a high note in my college career.
No, that's awesome. And, you mentioned the Sports Illustrated cover and just the recognition that you guys got both individually and as a team. That tourney run really sort of made you become this March Madness legend. So how cool is it just looking back now, knowing that you'll always be associated with that, no matter what you do from here on out? It's always Wally's World and Wally Szczerbiak in Miami, Ohio. Is that something that's just really cool to have?
It is, and you never expect it when it's happening. You're just living in the moment. But the fact that I went on to a 10-year NBA career and an all-star, and a lot of people remember me for that, but a lot of people still remember me for my Sweet 16 run in the NCAA Tournament and our team's run. So, it was a special time for me playing collegiately, because there's nothing like playing, for the love of the game. Obviously the pros was great to me too, and I love the game of basketball, but that run, is very endearing to my heart.
What's the one memory you have from the last time you walked off the floor as a college player?
I'm trying to think. Just the last time I was going to play with all those guys. We had such a close bond off the court. I remember that whole season. We were competing in Mario Kart and a wrestling game on Nintendo. And it really brought us close off the floor, which as a result showed our closeness as a team on the floor as players. And just knowing that that was the last game I was going to play with those guys was pretty tough.
Again, knowing Miami, Ohio like I do, I know Bagel and Deli is huge there. So I have to ask, what's your cooler accomplishment, getting your number 32 jersey retired or having a sandwich named after you at Bagel and Deli?
The Wally bagel is tremendous. The Mr. Turkey with a salt bagel with no mayonnaise. That place is so cool. My High Street in Miami, such great nights, such great times up there. Obviously, it's a great accomplishment to get your jersey retired. So I would have to say that's slightly ahead, but not too far ahead. And I can't wait to get back to campus and get a Wally bagel.
Also need to ask, I've got a couple of rapid fire questions, but I need to ask, who is the more famous Miami alum, you, Ben Roethlisberger, Paul Brown, or Bo Schembechler? I
think Ben surpassed all of us, for sure. Two-time Super Bowl champ. Guy I always try to get on my fantasy team. I think Ben's got me by a little bit.
Awesome. At least you're honest, right? Some guys would have just said you. So here, rapid fire, 5 or 6 questions. Which one college player do you want taking the last shot right now?
Buddy Hield.
What Final Four coach would you most want to have played under?
That's a great question. Lon Kruger.
Favorite moment from this year's NCAA tourney so far?
Jesperson hitting the half-court shot to win the game for UNI.
Yeah, that one was awesome. Whose name do you think is harder to spell, yours or Mike Krzyzewski's?
Definitely Mike Krzyzewski's. Definitely. Once you get by the SZCZ in mine, you're home free.
Who do you have winning this year's tournament?
North Carolina. They look like the best team.
And then lastly, again, I have to go back to Miami. What's your favorite bar at Miami? Skippers, Pachinko, or Steinkeller when you were there?
Wow. I would have to say probably Stadium was there. I used to like Stadium.
Oh,
yeah, I used to like Stadium a lot. I'll go with Stadium.
Nice. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Wally. Thanks so much for taking the time and, hoping that North Carolina wins it all so it makes you remain looking smart as an analyst.
Yeah, and on the Facta Degree deodorant, the world's first deodorant activated by movement, at the Final Four this year, which I'm going to on Wednesday, they're conducting a real-time fan movement study to show every movement counts. And what that means is they're using a lightwave technology wristband. They're going to put it on the actual fans in the stands to see how they react to different moments in the game and see how their bodies react to movement, to change in temperature, to change in blood flow when the heat is on at those tense pressure moments. You can go to @DegreeMen on Twitter to follow the study and the results, and DegreeMotionSenseLab.com to see all the analytic readouts. It's really, really transcendent what Degree is doing, staying ahead of the game, being the most innovative deodorant as far as being activated by movement.
That's awesome, man. Well, hopefully we'll all be sweating it out here in the Final Four, so I'm sure they're going to get some pretty good analysis.
If you're a big fan, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Wally, and like I said, good luck the rest of the way, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a great one.